Coming up on Arirang News. President Yoon Suk-yeol, speaking about his trip to the UN General Assembly last week, says it boosted the status of Busan's World Expo bid and heightened the world's expectations of South Korea. An array of diplomatic talks between South Korea, Japan, and China are underway in Seoul, seeking to resume the Trilateral summit between the leaders that hasn't taken place in nearly 4 years. At the ongoing Asian Games in Hangzhou, Team Korea secures another gold medal in Taekwondo and a first gold, 3 silvers, and a bronze in shooting, sitting second in the medal rankings so far. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start with President Yoon Suk-yeol's remarks regarding his trip to New York. He said the diplomatic events at the UN General Assembly expanded South Korea's role in addressing global issues, as well as boosted Busan's bid to hold the World Expo in 2030. He also reissued a stern message against potential military cooperation between Russia and North Korea. Our top office correspondent Kim Do-yeon leads us off.
Looking back on his trip to New York last week with 48 diplomatic events in 5 days, President Yoon Suk-yeol said on Monday the world now has higher expectations for South Korea's contributions globally.
그들은 우리 정부의 자유와 연대라는 국정기조가 외교 무대에서도 일관되게 적용되고 있어 대한민국 정부의 국제적 역할에 대한 신뢰와 기대가 점점 커지고 있다고 했습니다.
The comment came at a cabinet meeting where he said this reputation meant more leaders tuned into his speech at the UN General Assembly and boosted the status of Busan's World Expo bid. He also called on relevant ministries during the meeting for follow-on measures to the 41 sideline summits that he had so that what was discussed between the two countries lead to tangible results. The president also touched upon his speech at the UN General Assembly, re-emphasizing South Korea's vision to take the lead in closing global disparities in 3 areas: development, climate change, and digital order. The government's official development assistance budget will be more than double next year compared to 5 years ago.
우리는 개발협력 수원국들이 의식주 환경을 빠르게 개선할 수 있게 돕고 이들이 경제 사회적으로 자립할 수 있는 역량을 갖추도록 교육 훈련 분야 ODA를 강화해 나갈 것입니다.
At the UN, President Yoon committed an extra $300 million to the Green Climate Fund and announced the establishment of the Carbon-Free Alliance. He added, if the alliance is a success, it'll enhance South Korea's competitiveness in the nuclear and hydrogen sectors with access to a massive new market for Korean companies in the industry. In the meantime, President Yoon mentioned South Korea's leadership in formulating the Digital Bill of Rights. This comes as he attended New York University's Digital Vision Forum for the 2nd year in a row.
늘 새로운 기술이 출현할 때마다 새로운 규범과 표준에 대한 논의가 이루어졌으며 이 논의를 주도한 나라가 예외 없이 해당 기술과 산업 발전을 주도해 왔습니다. 이제 새로운 AI 디지털 규범의 정립과 국제기구의 설립을 우리 대한민국이 주도하고자 합니다.
President Yoon also took the time to restate his stern message regarding Russia's recent enhancement of military cooperation with North Korea. Without naming Russia directly this time, he said it's a concern that a UN Security Council member is helping a regime that violates UN security resolutions. He said as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council starting 2024, South Korea will lead the world's peace based on rule of law. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
An array of diplomatic talks between South Korea, Japan, and China are underway in Seoul, seeking to resume the Trilateral summit between the leaders that hasn't taken place in nearly 4 years. This while Chinese President Xi Jinping said over the weekend that he'll seriously consider a visit to South Korea. Our Lee Si-hoo reports.
Senior officials from South Korea, Japan, and China are holding a series of meetings in Seoul this week to prepare for the resumption of the long-stalled summit of their leaders. Seoul's Foreign Minister Park Jin met with the officials of Japan and China on Monday and called for collaborative efforts.
I asked some leaders here to work closely together to make summit possible within this year. I hope that some leaders will do their very best to make this happen.
Discussions will continue during the high-level talk set for Tuesday. South Korean Deputy Foreign Minister Chung Byung-won will speak with Japan's Senior Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Takehiro Funakoshi and China's Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs Nung Rung. South Korea, as the chair of the meeting, is expected to propose a blueprint for the trilateral to Japan and China and ask for feedback. The summit between the leaders of the three countries, which began in 2008, has not taken place in nearly 4 years since their last in China in 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic, along with disputes between South Korea and Japan over forced labor compensation rulings, had played a part in the suspension. Meanwhile, South Korea's Prime Minister Han Duck-soo met with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday in Hangzhou. A South Korean government official said at a briefing afterward that Xi had said that he would consider a visit to South Korea in a serious manner. Xi's will to visit, however, was not included in the post-meeting statement released by China. An expert on China says that the agenda for the potential meeting is insufficient.
Under the current circumstances, there are not many things that can be exchanged through Xi Jinping's visit, so the possibility of a visit to Korea doesn't seem likely in terms of agenda setting.
The same expert added that trilaterals deal with lighter issues such as economy, society, and culture, unlike bilaterals which involve heavier diplomatic agendas. Therefore, a trilateral is much more likely to take place. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
The foreign minister of Russia is set to visit Pyongyang next month, possibly to discuss President Vladimir Putin's widely anticipated visit to North Korea. This could be seen as a move to further strengthen trilateral relations between Pyongyang, Moscow, and Beijing, as Putin is set to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in October as well. Choi Min-jung reports.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has announced plans to visit North Korea next month. Speaking to reporters after delivering a speech at the UN General Assembly on Saturday, Lavrov said his visit comes following the recent summit between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin. This will mark Lavrov's first visit to North Korea in over 5 years.
In accordance with the agreements reached between Kim Jong-un and Putin, we will carry out negotiations in Pyongyang, which may indeed take place next month.
Lavrov is likely to discuss Putin's anticipated visit to Pyongyang during the talks with his North Korean counterparts. During the summit between the two leaders earlier this month, Putin accepted Kim's invitation to visit North Korea.
Kim Jong-un invited Putin to visit North Korea. Putin gratefully accepted this invitation. All further coordination will continue through diplomatic channels.
Russia's closer relations with North Korea coincide with its growing intimacy with China. Last week, Putin accepted an invitation to China for October to meet with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. One expert hinted at a stronger trilateral cooperation between Pyongyang, Beijing, and Moscow.
North Korea and Russia are likely to get closer. With strengthening North Korea-Russia relations, it seems relatively unlikely that China will break away from the trilateral alliance.
Pundits are also anticipating a possible trilateral summit between the three following Putin's visit to China and North Korea. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
The South Korean Navy announced today that it had begun a joint maritime exercise with the U.S. in the East Sea. The drill is to strengthen the operational defense capabilities of both countries amid escalating threats from North Korea. 9 ships and 2 maritime patrol aircraft from the 2 allies are participating in the exercise, which includes anti-submarine warfare training as well as live-fire drills. The Navy released a statement saying the joint exercise was to effectively deter and respond to Pyongyang's escalating nuclear and missile threats and further solidify the joint defense readiness of South Korea and the U.S. The drill will continue until Wednesday. As the second day of the Asian Games in Hangzhou comes to a close, South Korea is in second place on the standings with 8 gold medals. Our Moon Hae-ryun has the details.
South Korea is currently ranked second behind China with 6 gold, 8 silver and 10 bronze medals. 4 of these were won by the country's rifle and pistol teams, coming in with 1 gold, 2 silvers and a bronze across both team and individual games. The gold was awarded in the men's 10-meter running target team game, where the South Korean team scored more in a 10 shots than North Korea and brought victory home despite scoring the same amount of points overall. The running target is shot with an air gun at a target that moves sideways, and it's the first time that the country has won gold in this event at the Asian Games. Turning to its home sport Taekwondo, Changjun scored another gold in the men's 58-kilogram competition, following gold medals in the Pumse event on Sunday, bringing the total of Taekwondo gold medals to 3. Multiple medals were also won in judo, where Park Eun-sung and Kim Ji-jung both stood on the podium at the Asian Games for the first time after winning bronze in the women's 57-kilogram and 63-kilogram categories respectively. 21-year-old Lee Jun-hwan also took home a silver for the first time in his Asian Games career in the judo men's 81-kilogram category. As for sailing, South Korea's Cho Won-woo won an early gold in the windsurfing RSX category despite there being 2 races left in the game. This is because sailing is scored on a low point score system over a series of races. The first place is given 1 point, the second place 2 points, and so on. As a result, the winner is the participant with the lowest score. Athletes can choose to take away the score of their worst race from the final total, but with Cho Won-woo currently at 13 points, the current second place stands no chance of winning at 27 points, even if Cho comes in last. Following the All-Korean final for the women's individual épée category in fencing, the men's individual sabre finals also came to a game between compatriots Koo Bong-gil and Oh Sang-uk. This automatically secures a gold and silver for the country. With South Korea set to participate in all 7 swimming category finals on Monday evening, it's expected that there will be more medals to add to the tally before the day is over. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
And this just in, South Korea has added 2 gold medals to its tally, with Ji Yoo-chan coming in first in the men's 50-meter freestyle swimming and Oh Sang-uk winning gold in fencing. A second team of Korean experts dispatched to the defunct Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan have returned home, having wrapped up their inspection of the first phase of the water release amid concerns at home and in other countries. They say they did not find an abnormal situation. Our Lee Soo-jin has more.
The second team of South Korean experts dispatched to examine facilities at the Fukushima nuclear plant has concluded that everything is in order. Park Gu-yeon, the first vice minister for government policy and coordination, said in a press briefing on Monday that 3 experts from the Korea Institute of Nuclear Safety did not find anything out of the ordinary during their inspection of the central monitoring and control room and the seawater pipe header. The 3 experts were in Fukushima from last Tuesday until Saturday.
The experts confirmed with an official at Tokyo Electric Power Company in a Q&A session that wasn't anything out of the ordinary found, and that TEPCO plans to collect and analyze samples from the upstream water tank, seawater piping header, and waters within 3 kilometers before starting the second discharge.
In a visit to the International Atomic Energy Agency's Fukushima office, the experts also re-verified the results from Tokyo Electric Power Company's facility inspection after the first discharge. The first phase, which was concluded on the 11th of this month, amounted to a total of 7,800 tons. To analyze the impact on the environment, TEPCO, along with Japan's Environment Ministry and other interested agencies, collected seawater and fish from around the nuclear power plant and analyzed each for tritium concentration. Data showed that tritium levels remained below the standards set by TEPCO. The highest concentration was 10 becquerels per liter, detected near the discharge port on the 31st of last month. However, this is far below 700 becquerels per liter within 3 kilometers of the nuclear power plant, which TEPCO has set as the standard. TEPCO will continue as it is planning a release of a second batch of 31,200 tons of wastewater by March next year. 이수진, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol officially inaugurated career bureaucrat Bang Moon-gyu as the new Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy. In a ceremony held Monday, Yoon instated Bang as the country's industry chief as the administration looks to revive its nuclear power sector. Having served in various finance-related government posts, Bang was appointed as the government's policy coordination minister after heading the state-run Export-Import Bank of Korea from 2019. The presidential office has said the new minister has been deemed fit to implement key national tasks and ramp up strategic industries, trade and regulatory reforms. Following his inauguration, Bang invited the Korea Federation of SMEs, pleading efforts to support small businesses and remove red tape to enable growth across key industries. The business sentiment within Korea's manufacturing industry remains bleak, especially among the IT and petrochemical sectors. Findings show the industry's business survey index forecast for the final quarter of this year stands at 84, down 7 points on quarter. This latest decline marks the second such slump in a row. The Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry is linking the plunge in business prospects to slower recovery in China and higher global energy prices. Exports of agricultural food products are in good shape, thanks in part to the growing worldwide popularity of K-food. That's according to the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs on Monday, saying the value of exports of Korean agricultural food products this year until mid-September was over $6.3 billion. That was up 0.4% compared to the same period in 2022. The increasing popularity of Korean content has led to larger exports of K-food, especially instant noodles called ramen, which saw over 23% jump year-on-year. Exports of other foods such as processed rice products including kimbap and kimchi also rose about 16% and 10% respectively. There are reportedly over 2 million so-called urban farmers in South Korea who grow vegetables in their gardens or cultivate pet plants. When analyzed, the value of urban agriculture was larger than expected. Our Chung Eun-ju has more.
This is a pet plant clinic where horticulture experts are the doctors. After diagnosing that the plant's roots are in bad shape, the experts repot the plants and recommend nutrients for them. The pet plant clinic is equipped with treatment rooms and wards and even offers intensive treatment for up to 3 months in serious cases.
Most of the time, the problem is related to watering or lighting, so we diagnose the issue and prescribe a solution so owners can grow the plants properly.
Biowalls, also known as botanical air purifiers, have gained popularity here. Installation inquiries have been steady, mainly from schools and offices, as they are known to reduce fine dust and alleviate sick building syndrome. The Rural Development Administration first developed biowalls in South Korea in 2013 and has since transferred technology 19 times to private companies.
Looking from the perspective of people who spend over 90% of their time indoors, there's a high level of satisfaction from creating such spaces in terms of reducing fine dust.
As of last year, there were 1.96 million urban farmers who cultivated gardens and green spaces. The area of urban gardens reached 1,052 hectares. When the value of urban agriculture was converted into money, the analysis results show that it was worth more than 5 trillion won, or roughly $3.7 billion. Urban agriculture's economic value, such as in purchasing agricultural supplies and creating jobs, exceeded 3 trillion won, or about $2.2 billion. The social value, which includes physical activity and emotional well-being, reached 1.3 trillion won, or $981 million, while the environmental value, such as in carbon reduction or urban greening, was worth 700 billion won, or $528 million.
This is significant as we quantified how effective urban agriculture is both socially and environmentally, beyond simply thinking it would be good.
As urban farming is gaining attention as an industry, the Rural Development Administration plans to use these analysis results as the basis for urban farming policy formulation for the mutual development of urban and rural areas. 정은주, Arirang News.
From wind turbines to solar panels, renewable energy producing facilities are highly active on Korea's southern resort island of Jeju. But excessive overproduction of energy has become a problem, leading to power generator shutdowns. The government introduces large-scale energy storage systems that will allow the power surplus to be reused. Our Yoon explains.
The problem of energy excess supply has been occurring more frequently in Jeju City. A surplus of renewable energy is the major cause of frequent arbitrary shutdowns of power generators. In 2015, there were only 3 such occurrences, but that figure had increased to 132 by 2022. Behind the excessive electricity supply is the rapid expansion of wind turbine generators and other power facilities. This worsened in 2021 when solar power alone exceeded 20% of total energy production due to private solar power generation, also called electricity farming. In response, the government has moved to issue a tender for a long-duration energy storage system, ESS, in Jeju City, where the problem of renewable energy curtailment was considered most urgent. The facility is expected to have the capacity to charge and discharge 65 megawatts over 4 hours.
The energy is stored in batteries, and in the evening, when there is higher demand for electricity, the energy is discharged over 4 hours.
Overseen by the country's energy ministry, the winning bid will secure a long-term tender of 15 years, and providers will be paid the pre-contracted price, which will be determined through the bidding market. The volume of the ESS facility falls short of the required 100 megawatts, but it will still play a role in stabilizing the energy system of Jeju City. Additionally, a third submarine cable connecting Jeju Island and the South Korean mainland is expected to be completed this year.
The plan also includes storing the electricity as hydrogen, then reusing it as electricity when needed. This should contribute to stabilizing energy output here on Jeju Island.
Now, Jeju Island has also unveiled a large-scale green hydrogen project that aims to achieve a total annual output of 30 megawatts. The technology behind this project produces hydrogen using electricity generated from renewable energy without emitting carbon. Following renewable energy expansion policies, Jeju City plans to build and operate energy storage facilities with a total volume of 160 megawatts by 2026. 이은진, Arirang News.
The National Fire Agency will deploy additional personnel from its 119 emergency medical services over the Chuseok holiday to substitute for potential local clinic and doctor's office closures. The agency announced today that 230 trained medical personnel, including nurses and emergency medical technicians, will be on standby 24 hours a day to provide these services. The agency increased the number of emergency personnel based on a 1.4-fold increase in callouts during last year's holiday period. It'll also provide information on which hospitals are open during the holiday and emergency treatment guides. Foreign residents can also access these services via phone and the internet.
The nation is currently under partly cloudy skies, but make sure to have your umbrellas handy for tomorrow. By late tonight, a low-pressure system will be filtering in, bringing nationwide rain and breezier spells. Maximum temperatures will drop below the seasonal average in Seoul down to 22 degrees Celsius. After the rain tomorrow, overall readings will be rising again, creating a big contrast in daily temperatures. As for the overall amount of rainfall, central regions in Gyeongsang-Bukdo Province will see 5 to 30 millimeters. Jeollabukdo Province will see 5 to 10. For central regions and the surrounding areas, showers will be coming and going until this Wednesday. Tomorrow, Seoul and Daegu will be starting off at 20 degrees. Rainy spells will dominate for the daytime. Seoul will get up to 22 degrees, Daejeon 24. Gwangju and Busan will be reaching 26 degrees. Central regions will see showers until Wednesday and clear skies in the forecast for this Chuseok holiday. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all for this Monday night newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest news. Hope everyone has a good start of the week.